Hey everyone, welcome back. We got a Project Neon. This is a $400 car. Had it for a year and 10 months. It's been a pretty good little rig. Fairly clean, not really rusty or nothing. But in this video, we're going to be fixing some problems. We get a couple more recent issues, and then we've had an issue ever since we bought this car. So, for those of you who don't know, this car was in a bad wreck like 10 years ago. Previous owner smashed up the passenger side. I put a couple junkyard doors on it. The body gap is completely wrong. It's bent. I brought it into auto collision class, and you can see the doors leaning in further, and then the rocker. Yeah, the underside of this car, it's not pretty, let me tell you. It's actually arched. I took it into shop class, and the teacher's like, dude, this is done. This car is done. They said, just drive it until it dies. But he said, yeah, he even looked at it. He's like, you could put a K-frame on it, because that's bent, by the way. But he said, the body's bent. He said, I don't think that's really going to make a huge improvement. He said, it might help with tire wear, but he said, in this case, your car is bent. He said, it's kind of done. You're just, yeah. He said, you're better off just to either drive it until it dies or get yourself something else. So anyway, to the main point, this thing was leaking oil ever since I got it because of that hard impact. I believe it's cracked. I don't know for certain. It could just be a bad gasket, which wouldn't be surprising, you know, for a 98 Neon. It's just a 98 in general, you know. It wouldn't be surprising to have a leaking oil pan. So anyway, that and the drain plug is completely stripped on it. And I had somebody tell me, they're like, oh, you know, you should get a tap and die and, you know, tap and die set, and you can tap the hole bigger and put a bigger drain plug in. And that's very true. But is it worth it? Not really, because you can go to the junkyard and buy this. This right here is, sure, another drain pan. Pretty gross. I mean, you can see this thing, the engine that it was in was opened, unfortunately. It's got a drain plug in it. I pulled it out. We're just gonna pitch it. But there's the nasty drain plug. You can see the pan is disgusting. Yeah. But it was $10 from a little family-owned yard near me. You know, what a steal. And the pan itself isn't cracked. And again, I'm sure the one on that car is not cracked, but it's cheaper just to buy a pan. This one's probably uglier. But again, it's not stripped down there. The threads and everything are perfect, and the pan's not cracked. It's just kind of corroded and everything else and nasty. So we have some engine degreaser. That's brake cleaner there, but we're just going to use some engine degreaser, which I've done before on an old oil pan. Not for this car, for a different project. And we're just going to spray the inside of this, which feels weird to spray the inside, but I've done it before. Another engine that was sitting for years. And so I'm trying to get the freaking pan clean to put it on another project. And so we're just going to cake this guy with some engine degreaser. We'll move it out in the yard here in a minute when we're actually going to clean it all up. But for now, we're just going to kind of cake her up with some engine degreaser, which is not coming out of this can too well, but it's really cold outside, so not really helping anything. And then for the outside of the pan, we're just going to give her a little bit of a spray. Like I said, we're not looking for perfection, but at least the inside we need to be super nice, because I don't want to end up ruining our engine, you know. It's a really good, strong running 2.0 liter. And that probably won't do anything fabulous, but it will make it a lot better than it was. And you can already see something's kind of going on in there. Like I said, it won't be perfect. But yeah, for 10 bucks, not bad. We'll get it all cleaned up. Don't worry, we're gonna clean it all out. But yeah, this is the project. I'll turn on the light, and then we'll cut off to another part. You know, actually turn on the light. And you can actually see, and I'll record the process that I'm going to do. But yeah, this is what we're working with. All right, she's gonna go ahead and get cleaned out. She's a little bit dirty, not too bad in the back here. I don't know what that is. I don't think I dropped any bread in here. Could have been my dad when he borrowed it for like a week. Got this really weird mark on the window. It's been here for a long time. You can see that line. It's not etched, it's just something rubbed against it. And it comes off, you just gotta scrape at it, so we're gonna get all that crap off. A bit dirtier up here. Nothing too terrible though. Something running down here, I think it's soda. It's on both sides. And the driver's side floor mat's pretty muddy and gross. It's been heading out. Recently it's been going down a few gravel roads and stuff, so it's been getting kind of nasty, all dusty up here in the gauge cluster and whatnot. Again, we're not going to do anything fantastic detail-wise, but we're just going to get the old girl cleaned up. And in case anybody's wondering why the parking brake's up, it's because I'm going to move the gear selector to clean in between the gears there, in between, you know, the louvers or whatever you want to call it, little adjustable thing. Dirt gets up in there, and so I'm going to clean it out. Not too bad though. Wipe it down with a nice warm rag once we get it all vacuumed out. And you can also see kind of the bent up body. Yeah, underside's not too good. But anyway, ta-da! We'll get it all cleaned up and show the end result. All right, she's all cleaned up. Looks really good. Those are just marks of the vacuum. Some dirty old shoes, just work shoes. But I mean, look how nice and clean it came out. Wiped down all the plastic trim. See, the panels came out really nice. They weren't too bad. Got that weird mark off the glass. It still needs to be properly cleaned. I need to get some glass cleaner, but I got that weird mark off the window at least. That's a stain in the carpet. You can see again the swiping. It's from the vacuum. Seats are nice and clean. Dash is not too bad. It's kind of faded, but there you go. Console's nice and clean. Not perfect, like I said. It's just a quick clean. This is all faded, but not bad. It always looks better in the daylight outside. But I mean, it came out really nice. It looks really nice. Seriously. I'm happy with that. Alright. Moving on. Now we're going to wipe out this oil pan, get the rest of this crud scraped out of it. And then we're going to get the car up here on jacks in just a second. And I'll update you guys then. Okay. Car's up on jacks. There's the oil pan. I got the drain plug out, and it turns out the threads of the drain plug are all buggered up too. It's the same size drain plug. It's just the end of the threads are all buggered. That's the good pan over there. It's all gross and nasty. We're just going to clean out the inside and put it on and pull off this gross and nasty pan, which is in better condition on the outside. It's not cracked, nothing like that. It's just the drain plug's all stripped. And I had somebody tell me, oh, you can tap it and dye, you know, and get the threads fixed, you know, by making a bigger thread hole for it, and then you can put a bigger drain plug in. I'm not doing that. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and replace the pan with a $10 junkyard pan. And so far I was getting off this transmission to oil pan bracket. And so I was taking these guys out. Got to get up there into those. I think those are 18 millimeter. These are 15 here. We're taking these guys out. You can see they're nice and clean. Besides being oily and gross, you can see it's, I mean, this car is clean. So there you go. But yeah, we're going to take this bracket off. And then I'll get back. Once I get the bracket, I'll already pull out the engine bolt too here. But we're going to pull off this guy and this guy, and after I get that done, I'll get back to you, because then it's time to pull the oil pan off. We're gonna take out all these bolts after that, and yeah, I'll come right back after.
Okay, we have the engine mount removed. Not the mount, but the bracket that goes to the bottom of our motor here. And trans. Bracket's out. And we removed our L bracket as well, or whatever you want to call it. Mounts from the bottom of the transmission, or the oil pan to the transmission belt housing. It's right there, pulled out. So I just loosened up the 10mm bolts around the entire perimeter of the pan. We're gonna go ahead and take them the rest of the way out and pull this off and see what kind of surprises await us in here. I hope it's not too bad. Again, the engine runs pretty good, but there were shavings in there, so let's just see if anything's sitting in the bottom of this pan. You can also inspect the bottom of the motor and see the filter on the pickup tube and see how that looks. All right, I'll come right back when I get the pan off.
Hands off. Bottom of the block's pretty clean. You can see up in there. Of course, you can't see the, you know, the crankshaft bearings, or the rod bearings, I mean. But it's a pretty clean looking block down here. And the screen there, it actually does look like there's something up in there. And the pickup tube on that screen, that mesh screen. I pulled the gasket down. Surface looks pretty clean. We're gonna go ahead and wipe it. And then we're going to, anyway, I'm gonna look at that in a minute. See what's up in that pickup tube. Something small. But we're gonna make sure it's all clean, like I said, because, yeah. Here's the old original oil pan. It's got some definite grime in here. This looks like a lack of oil changes to me. Seriously. This one's worse, but this one's got that same crud going on. And my 99 is stupid clean inside, but and this engine has a little bit of a tick to it, by the way. And metal shavings every now and then. I don't think it was treated the best by the previous owner. At least oil change wise. It was ran low in oil at one point too, though, so they told me that. So that's what you get for $400. But anyway, it's a good running car. I put 14,000 miles on it. The tick is, I mean, really quiet. It's there as a tick, a definite tick. But it hasn't gotten any louder ever since I got it. It's been a fantastic little car. So yeah, this is the junkyard pan I paid 10 bucks for. It's clean. Also, yes, I inspected it. No cracks. But I mean, the threads are all buggered up. I know you can see them. They might not look too bad on camera, but they are not good, dude. Here, look. Where's the drain plug? I just washed my hands. But look. See? You're supposed to just kind of... See? You can literally force it down in there. See? And then wiggle it back out. Now it's cross-threading. There it goes. But see? Look. Oh, now it's stuck. But see, then it still has a bunch of wiggle room. Even when it's way down in there. So anyway, that's ruined. I'm not sure what they did exactly. But anyway, drain plugs, or the drain oil pan, threads are all buggered up for the drain plug. So I got this really nice one from the junkyard. Again, I was going to use this, but I replaced the drain plug thinking that may have been some sort of issue. See, look right there. There's a freaking thread. But look at the top. On camera it doesn't look too bad, but in person, when I have it side by side this one, you can actually see just how buggered up the top of the threads are on that guy, unfortunately. It's a pretty new drain plug and it has a magnetic end on it. But anyway, oh, this one, look at this. Not magnetic or nothing special, but there you go. There's what perfect threads look like. Absolutely nothing wrong. I mean, you can see they're not perfect, but threads are clean. There's your little gasket. But look up in there. Again, it always looks bad on camera. You need to be here in person to see it. But it's really clean. Those threads are perfectly fine. See? Put a drain plug on there, and you cannot push it down at all. You can't force it in there at all. You know, now just put dirt on the end of it. But see? I mean, it's pretty tight. You got a little bit of wiggle room, but that's to be expected once again. But nothing like this. Here's, again, the good drain plug. Ruined. And again, it's been leaking ever since I got it. The oil pan gasket's been bad, and that's been stripped out. It's been leaking out of the drain plug. So here, we got a good oil pan with a good drain plug. So problem solved. I mean, that's a lot better. You don't have to fight to try to get it centered at all. It just goes right in, no problem. So we're gonna clean the top of this pan off here. So the surface, you know, the top of the pan has a good mating surface for that brand new Victor Rentz gasket, Dana gasket, I don't know what brand. It's been sitting in the garage for a couple of years. It's a brand new oil pan gasket for a Neon. And we also got some gasket maker, high torque stuff. We're gonna use that instead of RTB, which I think that's what that is basically. But here's the old gasket, pretty nasty. It's the same kind as this one. It's the rubber metal base with a rubber outside on it. But yeah, this one was leaking real bad. So anyway, yeah, there you go. I'll come back when I get the gasket on here, and then I'll have the next clip of putting it up on the car. Okay, so we just got the surface wiped, the mating surface here. See, the bottom of that motor's pretty clean. I think I already said that, but pickup tube screen is pretty clean too. Had a little shaving in it of some kind. I pulled it out, but I mean, everything's clean down here. Here's the old pan, like I said. It's got some sludge buildup and crap in there. Nothing awful, but not that good either. And there's your, like I already showed, ruined, completely ruined threads. And then here's our good one. I just laid down a nice bead of, it's not perfect, but I laid down a nice bead of this gasket maker. Ultra gray. Not sure why it's ultra gray, but anyways, gasket maker, high torque. And I'm gonna put a thin bead on the top as well. Like I said, the bottom of the motor's dry, and I even cleaned up this surface. I scraped it with a just a little X-Acto knife, not an X-Acto knife, just a razor blade, and I went over and got a lot of the crud off, so it's a nice clean surface. And I made sure I wiped it all down, tried to get all the grease off the top, the oil rather. So this gasket would have, you know, the material here, and our gasket would have a nice clean mating surface to have the best chance possible to not leak again. So hopefully this gets us somewhere. Okay, pan is in. It's super gross on the outside, but it just needs to be sprayed off. Again, not too worried about it. It's all tightened down. You can see some of the crap oozing out of it. A lot of gasket maker. Just wanted to be safe. So anyway, there's a little transmission L bracket thingy. And then we got our engine mount. Everything's all nice and tightened, and we're ready to drop her down. May have already said she's back off the jacks. So on the ground, everything looks to be pretty good. Now, unfortunately, I do see a couple drops of oil at the under here. And it doesn't look like it's the pan. I mean, it's actually further over. Like I said, I don't think this is going to stop the leak 100%, but it will definitely help. And again, the drain plug was stripped, so we're still doing the car a favor. Anyway, we went ahead and got out our check engine light problem, which was the EGR valve. And it's like a two-piece thing. The other part's up here. I already cleaned this out before. I just never got to the lower part, which is down in here in this mess. What I found best, how to get it out, is take an 8mm ratchet, you know, a shorty guy with a small extension, get in there with the ratchet and break these loose for this guy, the 8mm on that plate. The lower one you use a you use the ratchet on, and then the top one you use the wrench on, I believe. And then the other one, I used the wrench on the top because there wasn't any room. And at the bottom, I used the ratchet. I used this guy. Actually, no, I didn't use this one. I was just thinking I might. I used, let's see where the extension went. I don't know where it went. That's not good. I don't even see it. It's not laying up on the cowl or nothing.
What the crap happened to the extension?
Oh, it's down here. I used this little 3/8 inch guy. And what is this? I don't even know what this says, extension. But there you go. Compared to that. Little 10mm socket. And I didn't click it all the way in. I just barely got it here, so when I was twisting, it could be like that, and it would hit the hose there. I could, barely have enough room. I'd just keep going until it was loose enough where I could just take the back here and spin it with my fingers until it came out. Pain in the butt, and you could probably take all this crap out, but there's no need to. So yeah, this was our check engine light. Sitting over here, I just used some carburetor cleaner on it, like it said online. I've been using a screwdriver and scraping some of the crud out of it. I just sprayed it literally a minute ago. I'm just letting the crud sit in it, and hopefully it will eat some of the carbon buildup or whatever this stuff is out of it. It's all this stuff. Because EGR is exhaust gas, I believe. Anyway, yeah. Hopefully this thing cleans up, so I don't have to go get a new one. And when I took the intake tube off, this extremely brittle old hose actually broke, and it's really hard. So I got a pile of hoses here I just grabbed from the other garage, so we're gonna rip this old broken hose off. And I got a couple little clamps laying around here somewhere. I just brought them in here. Just a couple small adjustable clamps, because the one there is like a press fit kind of clamp, so really not reusable. I guess you could pinch it with pliers, but we'll just use a different clamp on it. It's all right. This hose is cracked too, but it's okay. Again, we're not looking for perfection, but I at least want to have that hose in the back of that intake tube hooked up like it's supposed to be. But yeah, let's get this check engine light off, and the reason as to why is because I don't like showing the plate number, but I think I already did. Not that it matters. March. It is currently January. It's like mid-January when I'm filming this. So, yeah, I mean, our inspection's gonna be soon enough. We'll be getting the thing in the mail for inspection. We'll be getting inspected in February. Now the car is pretty much fine. Like I said, an oil leak would not, fail, and nor will blown shocks. Nothing like that, but yeah, we're just getting this old girl patched up. So we'll go ahead and see if we can't get that thing cleaned up a little bit more, and we'll put it back in and see how she does. Okay, I had it out like I just showed in the last clip. Now she's back in. She's all bolted down, ready to go. All cleaned out. Bit of crud came out of it. Actually, quite a bit. So yeah, it's either gonna work or it's not. I really hope so, because that's a pain in the butt to take off the side of the motor. Yeah, I gotta wipe off a lot of oil residue. Still gotta snap those harnesses back in the bottom of the fuse box here. Clip the wire back on the side of it and snap it back on the battery tray. Put the intake tube back on, which I put a hose on and a new clamp. So used, but it's all oily too and gross. But there's a good hose, so that'll go onto our thing here. We gotta break off the rest of that really brittle old thing. I can probably take the clamp off with my hand. And this thing here, we'll just take a screwdriver and tap it real quick on the top with maybe a mallet or something. Just bust the rest of the thing off. It's really brittle. It'll come off, no problem. Anyway, yep, not too much left to do. And once we're done with that, we're gonna tape up this hole up here. So, all right, here we go. Okay, so she's done. Almost. Under the hood, we're done. Again, it still has that little leak with the radiator, so it's not 100% full. But we'll worry about that in the spring. It's not a huge deal at radiator. Again, it's still pretty much full, and that's where it stops at. It's a new radiator cap, by the way. Well, used, but yeah. And I did pour a bit of oil in there just now, but I did check it earlier. Wiped off the dipstick and everything. Keep in mind, it hasn't been running or nothing. So yeah, oil's full. Everything's full. Which is good to go. I'll clean the EGR valve. It's got a new oil pan on it, which I think the oil that dripped down was just off of the back of the block since it's soaked. But anyway, the oil pan was leaking, so that's fixed. And of course, it's a new pan because it was stripped out. So, got a non-stripped pan with a good EGR valve, all cleaned up. Yes, that's duct tape. It's my fix to the hole for now. I never put anything in there, so we're just going over and making sure that everything is good. Everything's good and tight. Good and tight. And then, yeah, I mean, you see I got all the vacuum lines and crap hooked up on her. I'm just pushing down one more time and everything to make sure. Get my hands on it, push down on all the plug wires. Okay, they're in dipsticks, and the plug is in on that guy, all our vacuum tubes and stuff. Pretty gross in front of the hood. I almost fell down, so I grabbed the top of the hood when I was working on it. So we got this really nasty old rag from the floor here. I'm gonna take that and rub on the front of her hood. We'll get it washed eventually. Not right now. It's freezing cold outside. We just got a bunch of space heaters running in the garage. You're scratching the paint. I'm waiting for that comment. But I don't really care. It's a $400 Dodge. We're just trying to make her look pretty good. Paint's nice on it and everything. It's pretty scratched from the previous owner, and so I'm really not helping it, but I'm really not, seriously not doing much worse to it. Actually, I think our grill might be broken right there. It's really flexible on this side. Actually, we're gonna pop the hood and look at that in a minute. If so, I can just grab a grill from the junkyard. I probably won't even do that though, because again, this is the beater. So, anyway, she's looking pretty good. I mean, we're pretty much done with the powertrain. Just a speaker I was playing with. But anyway, the 6x9, this is our next thing. Ignore the spare tires. Why do I have two? Actually, there's three. The donut, which I don't trust, so I could just take that out and get rid of it. But I just left it in there. Got the original jack in the trunk too. Now, why do I have two different tires? Well, in case you didn't notice. The rears are the original 14s with 185s or whatever, you know. So these are this is the exact same wheel size and exact same tire size. And then of course for the front, which I don't think the rears is picky. I mean, there's nothing back here to get damaged if there's a different size wheel. It just rolls. You know, it's front wheel drive, and yeah. You mainly just don't want two different mismatched wheels in the front of your car, because then you're gonna hurt the transmission. Depending on where it's at, it could be rear wheel drive, you know, with the diff in the back. An axle. So anyway, you get what I'm saying. The drive wheels need to have the same size wheels and tires. But yeah, I just have these two in here. So for the front, I have another Daytona wheel, which by the way, these tires are junk, but I'm just using them because it's what I got at the moment. And when they finally go bad, then I'll toss on a new set of rims. I'll actually put matching wheels on this car and probably slap some wheel covers on it. But for now, I'm just trying to get by. Got some kind of rotten but good meat left on them Firestone tires. So anyway, yep. The next thing I'll cut to is the back seat pulled out of the car. Okay, so I didn't film it, but I got the wiper arm fixed. It was adjusted too high. It was like up to here, so it would always come up and smack this corner of the trim here. You can see where it was wiping. So I lowered it, tightened it. I need to paint the arms one day. But yeah, I'm just saying. I adjusted the arm. And in the back, we got 2 Chrysler speakers from a '08 Dodge Caravan. They sound a lot better than those Pioneers, especially since one of them just died. The one wasn't very bassy, and the other one, just all of a sudden the voice coil shot craps. So, there we go. All the speakers in the car work. Check engine lights off. She's ready to rock and roll.